Walmart steaks are the definition of hit or miss, but there are definitely some gems if you know where to look. According to hundreds of customer reviews, these are the best and worst steaks you can get. Starting with the best, ribeye is a favorite among steak lovers. Known for its beautiful marbling, intense beefy flavor, and tenderness, we'd be shocked if customers at Walmart claimed it to be anything less. Thankfully, the Beef Choice ribeye steak sold at Walmart is just as good as expected. Customers love its delicious flavor and state that it cooks beautifully over the grill. One happy customer even called this Walmart ribeye the best steak they've had in years. From what we've seen in the reviews, people use a variety of flavoring methods for this cut, with some utilizing store-bought steak seasonings and others using marinades. No matter the technique, this Beef Choice ribeye steak is the real deal. Of course, there are always a few naysayers out there. Some claim that Walmart ribeyes are too fatty, but it's important to note that ribeyes are known for their juicy fat. All in all, we consider this USDA Choice ribeye from Walmart a winner.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
It's easy to confuse Porterhouse steak with the average T-bone, but there are size requirements that separate the two varieties.
I call this Turf and Turf. It's a 16-ounce T-bone and a 24-ounce Porterhouse.
As the larger of the two, the Porterhouse steak is great for big appetites, and in the case of the Walmart variety, is often a choice pick. The Beef Choice bone-in Angus Porterhouse steak garners great reviews. Not only are customers impressed by its reasonable price, but many also hail the Porterhouse steak sold at Walmart as deliciously thick. Unlike the T-bone, which we'll get to later, the Porterhouse has a sizable fillet described as wonderfully tender. One customer even compared Walmart's Porterhouse steak to top-of-the-line Wagyu beef, writing, "Perfectly marbled and tender alternative if Wagyu is inaccessible. You want a tender steak? Get Porterhouse. You want flavorful? Get Porterhouse. You want balanced? Get Porterhouse." With that said, a few people noted that Walmart's Porterhouse isn't as large as some of the other reviewers claim. Because of the fluctuation in opinion, it's possible that Walmart sells a few Porterhouse steaks that are considerably smaller than others. Either way, the Beef Choice bone-in Angus Porterhouse steak tends to be a crowd pleaser, so it's definitely worth considering. The New York strip is one of the most popular steak cuts in America. Known for its tender, well-marbled, and flavorful meat, the New York strip is best broiled or grilled and tastes just as good with a simple mix of salt and pepper as it does in more elaborate recipes. You may have seen Beef Choice New York strip steak at Walmart and wondered whether it's worth the buy. According to patrons, it certainly is. Customers love that the steak is affordable yet flavorful, usually priced around $12 per pound. Though a few people complain that this particular cut has too much fat on it, most are pleased with it enough to have purchased it several times over. It's important to note that marbling and fat are part of what makes cuts like the New York strip special. If fattier steaks bother you, you might want to look elsewhere for your next steak dinner. Tomahawk steak is known for its dramatic bone structure, making it not only a beefy and savory cut of meat, but a beautiful one at that. Tomahawk steak is perfect if you're looking for a steak to cook on special occasions. Its tenderness is next to none thanks to the bone attached. As the steak cooks, the collagen in the bone penetrates the meat, leading to juicy, flavorful melt-in-your-mouth results. Thankfully, the Tomahawk ribeye steak sold at Walmart is a great grab. According to customers, the thickness of the meat is just right, and the bone doesn't disappoint. Fans are impressed with its tender texture and perfect flavor, especially when cooked over a grill. Because of the steak's deliciousness, patrons aren't complaining about the price point. Still, know that Tomahawk steaks aren't cheap. At Walmart, expect to pay about $13.50 per pound. To cook your Walmart Tomahawk steak, consider using basic seasonings like salt, pepper, garlic, and butter, and placing the cut over the grill. Moving on to the worst steaks on this list, T-bone steak is a classic cut known for its tenderness. We're not too sure what's going on here, but according to multiple consumer reviews, the Beef Choice Angus bone-in T-bone steak is missing a pretty essential component. As you may already know, a T-bone steak is composed of a strip loin on one side of the bone and a fillet on the other. For many customers who purchased Walmart's Beef Choice Angus bone-in T-bone steak, only the strip loin was left on the bone, with the tender fillet missing. The funny thing is, the bone is still intact, leaving some to wonder if the missing fillet was left off intentionally. As one disappointed reviewer wrote, "Usually a T-bone is a combo of a New York and a small filet mignon. This is a tiny sliver packed with fat as the fillet. The butcher should have cut off the New York and sold it that way. I paid for a giant bone and extra fat." Will this be your experience with this cut? We don't know for sure. Considering that most of the complaints about this steak state the same thing though, we can't recommend this option in good conscience. Top sirloin steak doesn't have a reputation for being the tenderest cut, but according to some experts, how you cook it makes all the difference. While immersing your meat in a tenderizing steak marinade can help, shoppers at Walmart claim even the best methods can't save the top sirloin sold there. Walmart's Beef Choice top sirloin steak has customers in a tizzy, mainly because the meat is so tough. One customer claims to have marinated the meat for over 24 hours without any resulting tenderness. Several others complain that the meat is full of fat, while others mention large amounts of gristle. As one wrote, "If I'd received this piece of meat at a restaurant, I'd have sent it back immediately. So much gristle you couldn't even cut it. Don't want to fire up the chainsaw to cut a steak." Like many other steak cuts on the list, the best way to prepare top sirloin steak is to cook it hot and fast. It does great over the grill and does even better when steeped in a marinade first. If you don't have access to a grill, the broiler in your oven does the trick too. Just be sure not to overcook it, as doing so can render chewy meat.
Joey!
While there are many tender steak cuts mentioned on this list, the flat iron steak is said to be the most tender after the filet mignon. This cut is well marbled, comes packed with plenty of savory flavor, and is yet another steak that does well when cooked over the grill. When it comes to Walmart's Beef Choice Angus flat iron steak, it doesn't seem that people hate its taste or quality so much as they do its size. This steak has garnered negative reviews mostly because people are offended by the cost of the steak when compared to its portion size. One angry customer wrote, "I just paid over $16 for not even 1 full pound of flat iron steak. Since when is flat iron $16 per pound? Plus, they put the lowest price on the app and you always end up paying way more." Many customers expect to be able to get at least a full pound of flat iron steak for the price charged, but instead, they're only offered a half pound. This seems to happen most often with carryout or pickup orders, and customer service experiences will vary from location to location. Our best advice is that when it comes to Walmart's Beef Choice Angus flat iron steak, it might be best to make your selection in the store yourself. Even then, you may or may not be pleased with the amount of steak offered for the price. If you're surprised to see Walmart's grass-fed sirloin deemed among the worst on our list, so are we. Though you might not believe that eating grass-fed beef over regular beef makes much of a difference in the first place, the truth about grass-fed beef is that it can actually be healthier for you in terms of antioxidants and vitamins such as A and E. Sadly, when it comes to Walmart's Marketside Butcher grass-fed beef top sirloin, this healthier selection is still a fail among shoppers. Most complaints center around the ridiculous sizing of the steak, which isn't surprising given that grass-fed cuts are sometimes smaller and may cost more than regular steaks. What really caught our eye, however, were the complaints about the quality of the meat. Some customers state that there are veins and tendons in the meat that make for an unappetizing appearance and texture. Even longtime fans of the product state that the cut seems to have gone downhill in recent years. As one repeat buyer wrote, "The size and quality has gone down. This last time, half of the steak was veins and fat and smells off. Not worth taking the risk anymore or the trips back to Walmart for refunds." So while grass-fed beef may be preferable in terms of health, we aren't sure that Walmart's Marketside Butcher grass-fed beef top sirloin steak is up to standard when it comes to quality. Bottom round steaks, also known as bottom roasts, yields delectable results when prepared correctly. Because bottom round steaks come from an area of the cow where the muscle moves often, it isn't nearly as tender as some of the other steaks. Despite this fact, many love cooking bottom round steak because it is affordable and tastes great when prepared using low and slow cooking methods. Even so, Walmart's thin beef bottom round steaks tend to get low ratings from customers. This Walmart steak cut gets glowing reviews from consumers who use the meat for homemade beef jerky, but everyone else seems put off by the meat, with most voicing concerns over the lacking freshness. One review read, "One out of the 2 packs that I bought was fine, but the other one was pale. I thought perhaps I would be okay. Wrong. I was sick for a week." There are multiple reviews on Walmart's website stating the bottom round steaks are often brown, with some claiming that they verge on green in some spots. Containing a rainbow of colors isn't exactly what most look for in a cut of meat. Since so many people seem to have had similar experiences, we can't recommend Walmart's beef bottom round steak in good conscience. Chuck roast is one heck of a versatile steak cut. Even better, Walmart offers this steak as grass-fed beef, which, as we mentioned earlier, has several health benefits. So what do Walmart customers think? Well, like its top sirloin alternative, patrons aren't very impressed with the Marketside Butcher grass-fed beef chuck roast. Not only are the roasts tiny for the price, but once again, customers are complaining about the amount of gristle and tendons in the meat. One customer even complained that despite using a tried-and-true slow cooker recipe, Walmart's grass-fed beef chuck remained rubbery. They wrote, "It is tough, full of gristle, and very dry and tasteless. We cooked it in the slow cooker as a pot roast. Can't even cut through it after a full day of cooking." Because it's sold at a higher price point, most expect better quality. Thus, Marketside Butcher grass-fed beef chuck roast is yet another hard pass on Walmart steaks.
Hard no.
Technically, beef stew meat is not one cut of steak in particular. It usually comes from the top and bottom round, though it can sometimes come from other cuts, making it more probable that it will be somewhat inconsistent in terms of taste and texture. Like bottom round and chuck eye steak, beef stew meat tastes best cooked for lengthier periods of time over low heat for tenderness. When it comes to Walmart's beef stew meat, customers say it contains a lot of fat and gristle. This means that even with proper cooking, you may end up with rubbery meat. One person said they left Walmart's beef stew meat in their slow cooker for at least 5 hours, and it was still unbearably chewy.
I'm sorry, but I asked for the beef stew.
If you end up purchasing Walmart's beef stew meat anyway, try trimming away the large pieces of fat prior to cooking. Additionally, be sure to avoid cooking the meat at too high of a temperature, forgetting to sear your stew meat first, and undercooking or overcooking the meat.